Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the last session of the day. Rahul, you have your video is on. Okay. So during this introduction, let keep your video on. So let me introduce about the speaker. The Rahul Mali is currently a PhD scholar working in our group, and he will be submitting this PhD thesis also very soon. And he has completed his BTech and MTech from Shivaji University. Uh, and after that, he has 1 year of teaching experience. And then he joined for his PhD with me at VNIT Nagpur. And he worked, as I told, he worked at RIT Islampur, Kolhapur, which is affiliated to Shivaji University as an assistant professor for 1 year. Then he started his PhD with us. And recently he has published three SCI journals also. And he has four international conferences which are Scopus based. And he has about a 7 to 8 years experience in the machining area. And currently he is an expert in freeform surface machining. And he his expertise also include in CNC machining of difficult to cut materials or hard to cut materials which are for aerospace applications, and also the machining optimization. So I will hand over the session to Mr. Rahul Mali. Rahul, you can take about an hour, and 15 minutes we can have some short question answer session. Okay, thank you.
Should I start, sir?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So before I start, I will share my screen with you. Check whether it is visible. Okay, I have shared my screen. So please check whether you could see this.
It's visible, but make it full screen.
Yes, sir. Is it visible, sir?
Yeah, it is visible. Make it full screen.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, should I start?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So, good evening to all the participants. Today's my session will be on freeform surface milling of aluminum 7075. So like, as I already aware that already we have attended 3 sessions and all the participants might be like evening session, so I'll not take much time and I'll keep it concise, and I'll make sure that I have full of pictures and photos or videos so that it will be interesting, and I'll not be having much theory in this. So based on photos and videos, I would like to share some of the work which we have conducted since last 4 years during my PhD work in freeform surface milling of aluminum 7075. So basically in this, as you could see in the title itself, like we have two essential words. One is freeform surface and second is aluminum 7075. So basically nowadays, due to the aesthetic and ergonomic requirements, freeform surface are very common, like in multiple applications, may it be from home appliances, plastic industries to aerospace or automobile components. These kind of freeform surfaces are commonly found. And like freeform surface, if we go into the theoretical definition of the same, these freeform surfaces, which is also known as sculptured surfaces, these are the surfaces which is having dimensions or shapes varying in all three principal axes, varying along all three axes. So if you say the shape of the surface, if it is varying in x, y, and z, like all three principal axes, and it don't have transitional symmetry or axis of rotation, that is a typical freeform surface. So as I already told, it has its own functional requirements or aesthetic. For aesthetic applications, we used to have these kind of surfaces. These are extensively used. And then next term that I have used, aluminum 7075. So aluminum 7075, it is basically aluminum zinc magnesium based alloy, which is used basically in aerospace industries and structural components. So this 7 series, it is basically uh, the series of aluminum alloys having maximum strength in all series, like from 1 series aluminum to 7 series. 7 series is the aluminum with highest strength. So these are typically used in applications where high strength to weight ratio is expected. So that is aerospace and structural components. So so besides aluminum, zinc and magnesium, so like 5 to 6% zinc, magnesium and copper, these are the main content of this aluminum. Okay, so like skipping uh, most of the introduction, directly I will shift to the basic experimental facilities which we have at VNIT that we used for conducting the experiments. So all these freeform machining experiments are carried out on VMC machine. So it can be done with 3-axis VMC, 3-axis VMC or 5-axis VMC. So we have here 3-axis VMC, vertical machining center, and which is Smart Mill 500. So the control system of the machine is Sinumeric 808D, and we have like maximum spindle speed of 10,000 RPM, and accuracy of the machine is 5 micron, up to 5 micron. Now after this basic machine, we have some equipments, like as the topic for the today's session is data acquisition, basically data acquisition in freeform surface machining. So different type of data is required to be acquired, monitor and analyzed so as to enhance the understanding of the entire process. So one of the major or essential such parameter is cutting force. So as to measure the cutting force, we use tool force dynamometer. So this is uh, Kistler piezoelectric tool force dynamometer. So maximum range or maximum force that we could measure is 5 to 10 kilonewton. So along x and y axis we can measure 5 kilonewton maximum, and along z we can measure 10 kilonewton. And this dynamometer is featured with maximum sampling frequency of 12,000 hertz. So it is of type 9257B. This type of dynamometer we have with us. Then we have this surface roughness tester for roughness measurement. So here we have different measuring speed, and like Surftex SJ40410 is the model from Mitutoyo that we have at our institute, which we measured for which we used to measure the roughness. And then last one is the USB microscope. So this is from Microlinks technology, and model is UM5. So it has the maximum magnification of 180x and resolution of 1600 into 1200. So like we use this microscope for measurement of tool wear. So based on this, one could understand. So basically three parameters or three responses after freeform machining has been measured, like cutting forces or cutting and feed force. Then we have surface roughness, and in surface roughness we have RA, RV, RP. So 4 different surface roughness values we have measured. Then we have tool wear. So basically 3 responses were measured, and based on 3 responses we have compared or analyzed the result or overall quality of the machining process. So basically we initially started with experimental investigation in freeform surface machining. So the objective of the study or objective of this experimental investigation is to study the influence of toolpath strategies and cutting parameters. So these cutting parameters are nothing but basic, our usual cutting parameters like speed, feed and depth of cut, on cutting force, tool wear and surface quality in finish milling of aluminum 7075. So here we used, for analysis we use Khatri Naik's multivariate data analysis approach. So that I will explain in subsequent slides. So this is what the basic steps involved in freeform surface milling process. So in this like we have this curved geometry, as I have said, the freeform surface theoretically, if the dimensions are changing in all three direction, along all three principal axes, if dimensions are changing, that is a freeform surface or curved geometry. So this is the basic geometry, and this is the setup, like wherein initial block is fixed on the force transducer or dynamometer using fixture plate. So freeform surface machining, it is carried out in two steps. Like once we consider this initial block, we have to first go for the semi-finished operation. So this is what we will get after that small lines will be engraved on the workpiece surface, and this is the semi-finished component which we could get after roughing operation. So what is this roughing operation and how it is done, all these things I will subsequently explain. And at the end, like this roughing is basically carried out using flattened mill, that usual end milling tool which we use for flat milling operation also. So basically we all aware of this flattened mills which we consistently using for flat milling also. But after this flattened milling, which we get the which we use for roughing operation, we use the ball and mill cutter and we go for the finishing operation. So after finishing, now as it is a curved surface, like entire surface will not be having same surface roughness. So we have divided it into different regions, different sections. As you could see here, the region 1, region 2, region 3, and the roughness will be varying along all three regions. So here roughness will be different, here roughness will be different, here we will get a separate different roughness values. Why it is so, that mechanism involved and all we will see in subsequent slides. So here this initial block, basically it is of size 80, 30 and 25 mm, and these modeling and these things we done it in PTC Creo parametric software. So this is what like in objective what I have mentioned, influencing of tool path strategies. So as to prepare this kind of finished part of this kind of final product, we can do it with different strategies. We can use for finishing, we can have different tool path strategies, like the way we want to move our tool, that defines the tool path strategies. So if we change or vary the tool path strategy, what will be its effect, that we have cross checked. So in first objective itself, we have two types, two phases or two parts of whatever we have carried out. In first part, we have studied the influence of tool path strategies. If we change the tool movement direction or the way tool is fed against the workpiece, so that is tool path strategies. What is its effect on the end responses or end product, like what is its effect on roughness and tool wear, that we have checked. And after that, we have checked the effect of cutting parameters or influence of cutting parameters. So basically two parts we can divide this entire study into. So this is the tools. As I already told you, for roughing operation we use this our regular flattened mill tool. This is the tool. This tool is of diameter 12 mm, and like ball and mill is of 10 mm diameter. So the total length of these tools are approximately 72. So for ball and mill it is 72 mm, and it is for flattened mill, it is 75 mm, and both these tools are of 4 fluted. So it has 4 flutes, and this is simple solid carbide tools. So it is uncoated tools which we have used to machine the components. So this flattened tool is used to perform the roughing operation initially. Once we finish off with the roughing operation, we end up with the roughing operation, we go for the finishing operation with this ball end tool of 510 mm. Okay, so this is what, like, simulation of the tool path strategies. So as I have told you, basically in first part we are focused on the influence of toolpath strategy. So there are many strategies that can be used. Like in literature, we found so many ways we can machine the workpiece surface. Like there is like these three strategies which we considered. Say linear strategy, wherein along the length the tool moment is along the length. Here it is perpendicular to the length, so linear 90 strategy, and here it is 3D offset. So if we carefully observe this 3D offset, it is combination of these two, like linear and linear 90. If we combine both, then we will get the 3D offset. So these are the basic 3 strategies which we have considered in our study. So there are so many other strategies also, like zigzag 90 strategy, concentric or spiral in spiral out strategies, radial milling. So like so many different strategies you could find in literature. But while going through all the literature, we found in common that these 3 strategies are more often used. And in literature, most of the authors quoted that either linear is very good, or like best, giving best results, or 3D offset is giving best results, or in some papers we found that linear 90 is giving best results. So like after going through all different literatures, we could decide upon these 3 strategies for our work. And first of all, we go for analysis or the influence of 3 strategies. Thereafter we move focused on the parametric effect. So these 3 strategies we studied first. Okay, just before that, these strategies, like our meal software we use to generate these strategies. Okay, now before I discuss the results and the observations which we have obtained, let me clear it. The mechanics involved in flattened milling is completely different than that what we observed in freeform surface milling. So in freeform surface milling, you could see that now in earlier slide we have seen how tool is moving along the uh, profile of the surface. Okay, so when tool moves like this, so at every point of time, the point of contact is changing. Either it is the tool is contacting at the center, that is tool tip, or at this location, or at this location, or at this location. So the point of contact is continuously changing based on the uh, tool inclination. So this is the inclination theta which we have drawn here. So at this point, the tool is making theta angle with the surface normal. If we consider here, theta is 0, so exactly at the tool tip the tool is in contact with the workpiece. Okay, so along the profile the tool inclination is going to change. As tool inclination changes, point of contact will change. Now if point of contact is changing, then the tool and workpiece surface, or tool surface which in contact with workpiece, will be changing. Okay, so to explain this, I have magnified whatever the mechanism involved here at point P2, or the mechanism involved here at point P1. So I have magnified these 2 points or 2 regions. So at position P1, you could see this, like this is a green circle. It represents the previous cutter location. So previously the cutter is at this location, then it moved on to this location. So while moving from this to this location, now cutter is starting contact at point A, so directly at 0, or like tool radius, effective radius at 0 to this particular portion. So the tool surface in contact with the workpiece is, this is ABC. Okay, so this is from top view. Here front view, you could get this kind of contact area. Similarly at P2, if you see the contact starting at point A1 itself. Okay, so it is not at 0, it is starting at this particular position. So it is starting from A1, which is at radius R2, and it is still whatever this radius R3. So contact starts at R2 and it ends at R3. Here contact starts at R equal to 0. Directly at tool tip it is getting into contact with the workpiece, and at R1 it is like so. What we can see, the effective radius in case of flattened surfaces, whatever the diameter of the tool which we are using. So if it is 10 millimeter diameter tool, the effective radius is 10 itself. Or if it is a 15, 20, 25 tool, the effective diameter or effective radius in contact is directly as it is, that it will be, let it be 15 or 20 or 25. But in this case, as it is a ball end cutting and the surface is having some curvature, the effective radius is varying. Here it is from 0 to R1, here it is from R2 to R3. So as effective radius changing, the surface area in contact is also changing, and this change leads to change in cutting forces, and that determines the subsequent surface quality. Okay, so this is what the difference between the usual or regular flattened cutting and freeform surface cutting. Here, except the speed, feed and all these the regular parameters which we are discussing about, except those parameters, the effective tool radius in turn, so if radius is changing, the effective speed will change. That we can understand if it is relation of the workpiece and the tool. So it is theta, here it is 0, and it will be varying all over the profile. So the effective tool radius is going to determine effective cutting speed, and this effective cutting speed and radius is based on this tool surface inclination, that is the lead angle what we call. And this all, the speed, radius and lead angle will determine the instantaneous contact surface area, which we have shown here. How the point of contact is changing, due to change in point of contact how effective radius is changing, and due to change in effective radius we are going to get different surface areas. Here the area, tool surface area is different, here tool surface area is there different. So all this, the different mechanism involved, this is the mechanism which is unlike the flattened milling. This determines the overall surface quality in freeform surface finishing process. So as this mechanism changes, so the metal cutting mechanism, uh, like it should be basically shearing. Like shearing is favorable, shearing gives us the good cutting properties, but due to this variation in this profile and a change in instantaneous radius and all, the shearing again it uh, coupled with the plowing operation, that is instead of merely shearing, in some cases shearing and plowing in combination it is occurs, and due to this it deteriorates the surface quality. Now how it is happening, like we will discuss in subsequent slides. So this is like my main point is to discuss how the freeform surface machining is different, what is the change, like mechanism uh, which is unlike the flattened milling. Okay, so just to make it bit clear, I have shown, like I would like to show video. I think it will take some time. Okay, so here basically I have shown the roughing operation, like with flattened mill, how we engrave the like near a finished part, like near shape component we are making with so many lines engraved over it. So if possible, I'll look for this. Just a minute. I think like okay. Is it visible? Like this video is going on? Is it visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. So this is like what we have discussed. This is the after roughing operation. These are the lines engraved. Okay. So near shape or near the required specified dimensions, we have made it in roughing. So this is, I'm talking about these engraved lines, these lines. This is after roughing operation. We could see this, like if it plays, we could see this. And once we complete the roughing, then this is finished. That in single pass we are getting the final part or final product or required geometry. Okay. So if possible, okay, I think to some extent it is it visible now? Like, is it
Yeah, it is visible.
okay? Okay. Yeah, yeah. So this is how like roughing. So basically, we are like usually we used to have like lab visit, and in lab visit we used to show this all, and like data acquisition, like hands-on training we used to conduct. But this time as it is online, so I'm trying to virtually take you to our lab so that you could get some flavor, like what exactly, how it is happening and how the things are. Okay, so very small steps. So this all like program is done with Power Mill software itself, and accordingly, so near final shape we are, and that algorithm itself take care of the fine this engraved lines. So this line engraved and the height of the height of the steps or the width of the steps, all this will be determined by the algorithm itself, such that in final cut we should get the required dimensions or specified dimensions. So this is all after. So this is what the final component. Okay, so this is roughing component. After roughing, this is the component which we could get, and this is the linear strategy which I have already played. I think if this is possible, we could see this linear 90 also. Let's see if I could. Okay, so like this is the length. So perpendicular to length it is moving. Okay, so these three strategies we have in first part, initial part of our study, we have considered these three strategies and we have machined with this. Okay. So this is linear 90, and this is like last one, 3D offset. So as I have informed earlier, this is combination of these two, linear and linear 90. We could get 3D offset. So let's see. Okay, I think now it is running. Okay, so like at least physical you could see this, so that you could understand, like as I have informed, how along the profile, how the point of contact is going to change due to the relative tool workpiece inclinations, and point of contact changes, it will change effective radius, and it will determine the instantaneous contact surface area. Now change in this effective radius and like point of contact, and instantaneous surface area. All this will determine the cutting forces, and at last that will determine the surface quality. I think. Okay. Okay. So this is like central part is roughing operation. It you could see these serrations. Okay, feed marks are there after roughing operation, and in single pass it is cutting or giving the final shape. Okay. Okay. So after this, like so whatever just now we seen roughing and finishing operation, these are the input parameters that we used: speed, feed, depth of cut, diameter of the tool, axial depth, radial depth, and the tool used is the flattened tool and ball end tool. Okay. Okay. So after this, as I have discussed on first slide itself, like we measured basic three responses: tool wear and surface roughness. Now to analyze three strategies, like which strategy is good or best among all three: linear, linear 90, and 3D offset. So we compared two parameters: tool wear and surface roughness. This is like tool wear we measured with that USB microscope, and like image software we used to fix up this area. So tool wear is measured in terms of area, and then we convert it into tool wear length. We divide by cutting length, total cutting length that we could get from power mill, and we uh, converted the tool wear area into tool wear length. Now why it is required? So as to analyze this data, so that I will discuss in subsequent slide. So why we need to convert the wear area into wear length. Then surface roughness at different locations. So at region 1, 2, and 3, like I have shown the finished component. So as the instantaneous radius and this all will be different in different regions, so entire surface will not give a identical similar surface roughness values. That's why we uh, we divided entire surface into region 1, 2, and 3, and at each surface we uh, measured or we recorded four different roughness parameters or indicators: Ra, Rz, Rv, and Rp. Okay. So just to make it simple, you just think of region 1, single region, or we can say a single surface. On single surface with linear, what are the roughness values we got? With linear 90 and with 3D offset, you think of only one region, so it will be easier. Same we can replicate to region 2 and region 3. Yeah. Now for analysis, this is like what we have used: Khatri-Naik plots. So you might have heard of various methods for multi-objective optimization. Okay, so we use GA, we use ANN, or we use GRA, like simple method, gray relation analysis, all. But here we have used like a Khatri-Naik plot, so as to analyze this multivariate data. So multivariate, it means we are analyzing multiple parameters. Okay, so in roughness we have RA, RZ, RV, RP. So four parameters we have, and in tool wear, like we have tool wear length. So this one and these four, the total five parameters we are analyzing at a time. Okay, so all five parameters we are inclusively we are analyzing. So as to inclusively analyze those parameters, we use this. So this Khatri-Naik plots, this is the equation. Okay, using this equation we are going to plot the graphs. We are plotting the responses using this equation. This is known as Khatri-Naik equation. So this is equation basically y1, y2, y3, y4. These are the responses which we have recorded. So in our case, say y1 will be tool wear, y2, y3, y4 it will be rough values: Ra, Rz, Rp, Rv. So this number of parameters we can analyze simultaneously, but only the requirement in Khatri-Naik plot is all parameters should be in same unit, identical units. So in our case it is micron, all are roughness, so it is micron. And that's why, as I said earlier, like tool wear length we calculate, tool wear area we calculated using image software, so that we converted into tool wear length. So tool wear length is in micron. So all parameters right now it is in micron. We just replace this y1, y2, y3, y4 in this equation with the responses which we have measured, and then we plotted like whatever this equation g of t value we plotted. So here the multivariate data in our study, like WL, RA, RZ, RV. So this is just nothing but we are assigning sine and cos functions to our values. So we are doing nothing, simply we are converting our data into sinusoidal wave. So basically this Khatri-Naik plots inclusively consider, like in combination it considers uh, all the parameters and convert it into single 1D curve. Okay, how it happens? So you can see. Okay, so this is like for say linear strategy, whatever parameters we checked, say RA, RZ, RP, RV, all parameters if we put, so for linear if we put these values and if we plot g of t, so this is simply done in Excel itself. Okay, so we could get for linear, this is the graph we could get. So all parameters intermixed together and combined representation of all the parameters in 1D curve, single 1D curve we will get. So just we are representing the responses in terms of sinusoidal wave, and to get that we have combined it with sine cos function. So we done nothing, so it is simply sine t cos t, sine 2t cos 2t. So just t is varying for pi to pi. So you can take any values in between this, any value you can take, and just you can convert your data into curves. So it is inclusively representing all 5 parameters, and the thumb rule is the curve which is closer to horizontal axis, it gives best results. The curves which are closer to horizontal axis represents the best possible results. So in our case, the red line for region 1, so at region 1 3 strategies means the responses obtained with all 3 strategies, say roughness with all 3 strategies, tool wear with all 3 strategies we have plotted. For region 2 we have plotted, for region 3 we have plotted, and like here it is simple we can see the red line for 3D offset, it is closer to this one. Okay, so it represents the roughness is minimum and tool wear is minimum with this particular strategy. So closer to this, it represents the responses are minimum. Okay, so here both roughness and tool wear we have to minimize. So if we consider all 3 at a time, so this red line, and here it is second, but combiningly we could say, considering all results obtained for all 3, that the 3D offset is the best finishing strategy. Okay, so like this is first part we completed. We conclude upon that out of 3 strategies which we have considered, 3D offset gives the best performance in terms of roughness and tool wear. After reaching to a best possible strategy, now what we did, we performed Taguchi L9 experiments using this strategy. Actually, we have to check the parametric effect, like how speed, feed, and depth of cut is uh, influencing the cutting forces, or it is influencing tool wear and all. But before that, like which strategy is to use, so as to decide that, because there is so much ambiguity in the results which we found in the literature, as I already quoted. So we ourselves performed the first phase of experiments wherein we compared these 3 strategies, then we find conclude upon that this is the best strategy, and then we performed L9 experiment using this strategy. So like the strategy will remain same, only we are going to vary the input parameters like speed, feed, depth of cut, and for all like different 9 combinations we will get the feed force and cutting force and wear. Okay, now here also like cutting force and unlike flattened milling where once we start cut, so start to end cutting force will remain same, that magnitude is almost same. But here in this case, as again effective radius and effective like instantaneous surface area is continuously changing, point of contact is continuously changing, so the force profile is not constant, like magnitude is not constant, it is immensely varying. So I have average out all the forces, I will show that, and then we have analyzed the parametric effect. Okay, so this is main effect plot. We can see like it is decreasing with forces and increasing with feed and increasing with depth of cut, like for cutting forces, and then for tool wear we have analyzed. Okay, okay, and then the roughness values for all 9 experiments. Okay, L1 to L9 we have RA, RZ, RB, RP, RV, RL, like for all 3 regions we calculated. Okay, okay, so before that, like once again what we did here, uh, like we plotted this region 1, region 2, region 3. Now for all 9 experiments, whatever roughness data and wear data, here tool wear values we have quoted here. Similarly, roughness value I have quoted here. So roughness and tool wear, again we make, as I said, just to make it simple, just think of this. So region 1 L1 experiment we have RA, RZ, so these 4 values, and for L1 roughness, okay, roughness for L1. So these five values are substituted in Khatri-Naik plot, and then we get the R1 plot. So here we could see, so these are for all 9 curves we plotted. So here L1 represent this, here somewhere that L1 is there. So similarly for region 1, all 9 for all different for all 9 combinations we plotted the responses. For region 2, for region 3 we plotted the responses. Okay, now out of all, like considering all 3 regions, one could see that here L1, L4 and L7 are closer, so all 3 are giving good results. Here we could see L1, L4 and L7, again that these 3 combinations are given good results in this case, and here L1, L4 and L5 is giving good results. Okay, so again if we consider all 3 regions, here L4 is comes out to be best parametric combination. So here, so like experimental 4 and 1 both are here, L1, L4, L1, L4, L1, L4 are good for all 3 regions. Like this is in terms of, it is good in terms of roughness and tool wear. Okay, so if we consider all 3 at a time, the experimental or the parametric combination corresponding to experimental run 4 is comes out to be best, or it evidences the best results in terms of roughness and tool wear. Now next, a very important thing, that like what new thing that we have observed in this, as I have informed you, like if we see now, this is the force profile which we have obtained in freeform milling. So as I already mentioned, it is not a constant magnitude forces which we are getting. Usually we used to get in flattened milling. Here it is entirely different curve. Okay, so I have averaged out it, and like L4 corresponding to best parametric combination, and L9 if we see that red color, it is always far away from the horizontal line, like it is giving the worst results, we can say, in one sense, like it is giving the like minimum what we can say, maximum roughness or maximum wear we could observe with the L9. So it is giving worst results simply. So if we could, we observe this profile for entire profile for L4 and L9, the profile is same. Okay, we cannot see a visible difference in both the profiles. But if you minutely see both the profiles, like see here, this is the profile for L4. At one point we have taken this, and at L9 this is the profile. So if you can see that, see this here, it is a zero forces theoretically, or ideally speaking this is zero forces. So this is a peak of the force and this is a peak of force, in between there is idle. So we can say this is 2 consecutive tool workpiece contacts. Here tool contacting workpiece, here it is contacting, it is idle time. So here we got some delta t is the idle time. But in case of L9 where speed is highest, the idle time is practically idle time is zero, no idle time as such. Okay, so the tool is in continuous contact. Okay, and the force profile is more uniform in this, like L4 force profile is not, or comparatively less uniform. So less uniform cutting forces, it causes vibration to occur, or it increases the vibrations, which subsequently deteriorates the surface. So this is our like observation which we have quoted in our paper. And except this, okay, like one more thing which I would like to say. So here the same whatever we obtained for forces, that we can correlate with main effect plot also. Like here, uh, speed decreasing forces are like, we could say, with speed, like increase in speed forces are decreasing, and increase in feed forces are increasing. So whatever things which we have obtained here, and that detailed force profile, that we can correlate. So simply if we increase the like speed, one possible reason what we can say, with increasing speed there is thermal softening to the material. Okay, so thermal softening, it deteriorates the forces. Theoretically speaking, there should not be any correlation between the speed and force. Like speed, force is independent of speed, but here we obtain like it is decreasing. So one possible reason is, as speed increases, at higher speed temperature might be increasing, and that temperature of the tool and workpiece surface, so thermal softening, it causes or it facilitates the thermal softening, which could be the reason why the forces are decreasing. Here feed and depth of cut increasing, forces are increasing. It is obvious, as we are feeding more material against the tool, as we are feeding more quantum of material, quantity of material, obviously forces will be increasing. Now in some cases, like so this is for aluminum, it is soft material, comparatively soft material. The same thing which we have obtained or observed, or I have read for the difficult to cut materials like Inconel or Highness or cobalt based alloys. So in that case, if in some cases I have seen that even if feed is increasing, more material is fed, even though the forces are decreasing, the reason might be, even if we are increasing feed, the thermal softening is again occurring, and due to thermal softening, the it takes lesser force to cut the material. Or else we can take it in other way, like if we decrease the feed, so before the tool enters to the next cutting cycle, like after thermal softening, again the heat hardening is taking place, and due to heat hardening, in next cycle, if it is very slow, comparatively slow, in next cycle again forces are increasing. Okay, again in the same of depth of cut is same, like it is increasing with increase in speed, depth of cut. So again same, we are feeding more material. But again in some cases, in difficult to cut metals, like if we increase depth to some extent, it is reducing the forces. Again the reason is, at particular depth, whatever first cut we have, so at due to initial cut, like so whatever heat is going to whatever interface heat is there, that interface heat causing the thermal heat hardening or thermal hardening of the surface, or that white layer is going to form. So that white layer or thermal heat hardening, it causes the next layer difficult to cut. So in difficult to cut materials, I'm talking about Inconel and all. So my basic intention is, like in machining, mostly we are like studying, or we are analyzing in black and white, like it is significant, not significant, it is important, it is not important. But it is not the case. What I have read and what I have like observed, like it is gray. We have to analyze in gray way, gray fashion. Like whatever thing we are observing in for our combination, it may increase or may decrease. There are certain set of thumb rules. Okay, there is thermal softening, at the same time there is heat hardening. So in case of difficult to cut materials, there is heat hardening. In case of say softer metal, there is thermal softening. So these are like gray scale. We have to analyze that, instead of directly it is significant and non-significant. This is the main point I want to quote in front of you. So we have to analyze in that way. This also we have to consider in that way also, that way only. So here the main thing, what again what I forgot to tell. So not only the magnitude of force, what magnitude force we obtain, the time lag which we have observed, or the nature of force variation, whether it is uniform force variation or it is irregular force variation, the nature of force variation will cause the vibration to occur, and those vibration will again determine the surface quality. So this is like intermixed, 2-3 parameters or effect of these parameters, we have to check in combination instead of directly, like as I just said, it is significant and non-significant, like all 2 or 3 parameters combiningly affecting. So we have to check the weightages of each parameter, and accordingly we have to intune our entire process. These are some of the basic conclusion from our first objective. So like 3D offset is the best finishing strategy. Experimental run 4 with this speed, feed and depth, we get like best parameter combination. Here like main observation or main thing which one should know, instead of other input parameters, active cutting forces, effective tool radius and instantaneous contact surface area are significant to determine the overall surface quality in case of. So we cannot directly or merely we cannot consider like speed, feed, depth of cut in case of freeform surface milling. We have to relate it with the effective tool radius, instantaneous contact surface area, and then we have to think of the obtained surface quality. Not merely like just now I said, time lag and nature of force variation is also important. And we have like seen like Khatri-Naik plot, whatever regular usual practice we have, GRA and all. Along with that, if we have multivariate data, like multiple parameters, multiple variables in same unit, if we have that in simple statistical way or simple statistical manner, we can represent it, we can analyze it, we can compare it. So this is one method we have used here. So based on this, all our outcomes, we have communicated it to International Journal of Advanced, and this is our publication. So whatever, like if you skip, if you have not understood, or if you have like interested in some more details, you could get it in this particular paper. So this is like recently we have published whatever till now we have discussed. Okay, so this is like first objective which I would like to share with you. Okay, another important thing, okay, I'll make it fast. So in literature review, like we gone through almost 250 plus papers. In 250 plus, nearly 170 papers I have incorporate and written a comprehensive review. So in freeform machining, before end up, I'll give some insights for early researchers like ME, MTech students, or that those who want to get like start in this particular domain. They should know, like basically in freeform surface machining, these are the 5 domains in which we could work. So experimental investigation, which we just discussed. We have analytical studies wherein we develop a particular physics based model and we validate the experimental data. Then part inspection process, and then tool path generation, like these cutting strategies and accurate and efficient tool path generation, or machining in minimum possible time, and surface reconstruction. These are 5 main domains in which we could work. So basically, considering all these 5 elements, I have summarized or I have incorporated in a review paper, and we have communicated it. And within these 5 domains, experimental investigation, inspection and analytics, these 3 domains we have worked in. Okay, so anything regarding this, if you could like if you are interested, you can contact. Okay, in that interesting fact I want to share, in entire like literature review or literature part which we did, in that maximum work we found in aluminum alloys, then we found it in steel alloys. And interestingly, for early researchers, on other materials like difficult to cut materials, Inconel and all, very less literature is available. Like these all 170 papers I am talking about, only recent literature, like for a decade from 2009 to 2020, we summarized. So like in recent days, there is no much work on difficult to cut material and freeform milling. Even I could say, like even in India, just 2, 3 or 4 groups are there, research communities, they which are working, and even their focus is on these 2 materials. So like start their work in this particular domain. And interestingly, whatever the things which has been extensively done in flatten milling. So we have nanoparticle milling and coolant studies, and we have heat assisted machining and all this, whatever different stuff that is extensively already done in flattened milling, these things you can try in freeform milling with these particular materials. So what I want to say for like early researchers, you could focus on this particular domain, wherein in like difficult to cut materials like Inconel and Highness, and that we can consider. And whatever things you are studying in flattened milling, you can apply to this particular process like freeform milling of difficult to cut materials, and you can do for heat attested, temperature thermal assisted machining, or coolant or nanoparticle based. These things you can try out. Okay, so this is the so many parameters which determines the accuracy of freeform. This is like what we have obtained from entire literature. Like there are machining parameters, cutting phenomena, surface parameters, tool parameters, work with so many parameters. So you could start with any one tree, any one branch. You can think of one branch and you can start exploring that particular thing. So how you could closely monitor, and how you could manage to get the required surface quality. Okay, you either you focus on this or this or this, accordingly you can check. Okay, so based on our like as I said, so we have already communicated, and we could get we get acceptance from Journal of Manufacturing Processes last month only. So we are expecting like till this month end we could uh, the paper will be available online. So you can go through this paper or my earlier paper, and like you can get the more details about these things. At least those who are willing to start work in this domain, this paper will be very much helpful. Even if you like want for any further things, you can contact. Okay, inspection part I will like roughly I will go through. I will not take much time. So after experimental investigation, once I get this finished part, so we did a simple comparison. We have statistically analyzed the outputs. Like output is freeform surface accuracy, form accuracy. Okay, so except the forces obtained or roughness, another indicator of the surface quality is form error or form deviation. So form deviation we measure with CMM, and we measure it 3D scanner, and we compare both, and we like analyzed and compare both. So I will just go through. This is the CMM setup, this is 3D scanner, this is the methodology. Then okay, this is like inspection process all about part model. When we have to take like different samples, so many 30-35 samples we took on a surface. Based on those samples we prepare a surface, then that surface is aligned over the CAD model. So this is part alignment. The surface is put or aligned, superimposed on the part model, and then this is used to be the best fit model. So this is done in Power Inspect software. Okay, so here we get the comparison. So this is comparison graph for 3D scanner. This is for CMM. Okay, this way like 35 readings we obtained at randomly we have selected the points, and then these all things, whatever the 35 readings we obtained, we get the average deviation. We get the we calculated, computed the standard deviations and normal distribution curve. We plot based on the standard deviation. So this is standard deviation formula one can use. And okay, so like for all 9 experiments, for all 9 surfaces, we do it with CMM, we done it with CMM, we done it with 3D scanner. And like average deviation, if we compare for all 9 experiments, CMM is better, like less average deviations we could find in CMM. But always like we cannot rely on average deviation, because there is plus and minus both sides. So average we cannot completely rely, and we cannot rigidly conclude upon these particular values. So we go for standard deviations. In standard deviation we can get the distribution of data, how data is distributed, and like all like additional things we could get in standard deviation values. But in that also we found that CMM results are good. And then we plot a ND curve, and ND curve here we can get. Okay, so CMM data is more concentrated about this line, so it is more uniform, it less spread, like finely distributed data. So CMM results are more accurate, okay, in terms of average deviation and this. So probable reasons, like scanner we are using some some as the surface is reflective. So we are putting some coat, like we are putting some white powder on that. So like thickness of the powder and those things that are affecting. Then as it is based on the like laser, so it is always prone to reflection, absorption, and transmission from the surface. So there is data loss in this particular phenomena, and then it deteriorates the quality. But wherever we have limitation or constraint regarding the accessibility of the CMM probe, or the part is very delicate or thin, in that case we could not use a contact type inspection. So CMM cannot be used in that case, or say RE, reverse engineering type of work. So we can use 3D scanners there. Okay. So thank you for your attention. Okay, before I end, just I would like to acknowledge, obviously, first of all, I would like to thank my supervision, who is kind enough that he gives me opportunity to present my work in front of you. And I also thankful for Atul Andhare sir, Dr. A.B. Andhare sir, Dr. V.D. Guge, and Mr. Ganesh Todase, who's technical assistant at workshop. I would like to also thank my like my friends who are pursued their MTech in our department. Aishwaresh, Nikhil, Mata Dayal, Gautam, Parag, Mahavir, Prathamesh, and Kalpav, and my like PhD friends like Dr. Nilesh Sahu sir, Hemendra, Uday, Chaitanya, and Nikhil Thauri. I thank all.
Yeah, thank you, Rahul. It's a nice presentation. Participants, if you have any query, you can ask. Let me unmute everyone. I have unmuted.
Okay, so
Rahul, you can close the screen where you are sharing it.
okay, yes, sir.
You can close the screen. Means like whatever you have shared now, you can remove the sharing.
Yes, sir. I removed, sir.
Okay, fine. Fine.
I removed, sir. Just
Click.
reading the comments. Okay. Rahul, sir,
Still you are in
okay.
sharing mode actually, Rahul sir.
Still you are in sharing mode.
No, actually.
Stop sharing.
Okay. Okay.
Now it is okay.
Yes,
there
sir.
are few
Yes.
queries in the chat box.
Okay. Should I go with queries? Queries, sir. Questions?
Yeah, which software is used for simulation? Somebody, Rishal, has asked.
For simulation, we used Power Master.
No,
No.
what
Power Mill we
simulation
used.
model?
Actually, we used Power Mill.
Delcam.
Delcam Power Mill software we used for this. Okay. Then next is okay. Thank you, Samir sir. Why you have not tried ball nose end mill? Why you have not tried ball nose? I could not get actually this question. Why you?
Palaksha, can you ask what exactly you want actually?
Sir, I think you have used a flat bottom end mill.
Huh?
Can you go to your tools, sir?
No, sir. Actually, for roughing operation, we used a flattened mill. But after roughing, we went for finishing
Ball.
operation, which we performed with ball and mill only. I have shown there, sir, like two
The
tools.
videos you have seen the videos, no? But it's a ball and mill.
The
So in video,
Yeah, finishing is with ball and mill.
finishing operation, like final shape we have given it ball and mill only. Okay. Then why toolware is given as square? Okay, sir. Actually, as I have info, like once just I mentioned, like we used ImageJ software. So therein what we did, we take the images of the tool, and then we use that software like on PC. We just uh, we just calculated, or we just found out that area of weir. So that's why it is in mm square. So if you could remember small image which I have shown, okay, therein I have shown the area, like how we fix up that area, and we measured it in terms of area of weir, and then we converted it into weir length. Okay. Sir, I think I have made it clear. If anything, you can, sir, still ask. Sir, how many readings will be recommended in such kind of experiments? Sir, like how many readings means, sir, that depends, like what objectives you are finalizing. Based on that, we can think of readings. Means like it is very vague. Directly, I could not say how many readings means, like which responses you are talking about and all that we have to think.
No,
Means
but
if you
you
are,
can tell in your case. In your case, how many experiments we have done?
so in our case, we performed 9 experiments only. With particular strategy, 9 experiments we performed. Okay, and accordingly we have like analyzed the responses.
No, it all depends on what you want to see. Whether you are interested in tool wear, or you are interested in surface roughness, or you are interested in temperature. So accordingly, you have to decide the number of experiments. So our interest is not on the experimental part, more on the analytical and mathematical model actually. So that was the reason. With less experiments also, we got a lot of information.
Which software is used for this simulation?
No, you can see from last one.
Okay. Sir,
Which software is used to plot main effects graphs?
Minitab only, Minitab 17. Asif sir, it is actually Minitab 17. We can use that.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
There is one
Khatri
more
Naik's
query.
methodology is better than RSM. We could not directly, sir, conclude upon it actually. Like the reason, like the applications or the when we used RSM is different, and when we use Khatri Naik is entirely different. There is own constraint with Khatri Naik plot itself. Like we want all the parameters, all the responses in single unit, like same unit, identical units and all. And RSM we could analyze any responses. Like we can analyze force, tool wear, temperature at a time, but that thing is not there with Khatri Naik. That only parameters which are identical in units that we can analyze. So there is like its own pros and cons with both the techniques. Like directly we cannot correlate this. Okay, which software is used to inspect the surface? Okay, for surface inspection we used Power Inspect. Actually, Power Inspect software is there, so we use that. Okay, I think any other queries you can ask. Kindly state this paper. Okay.
We will
So-
share the concerned paper actually. We can share them. No? Already it is published. IJMT
Sure.
paper.
Sure.
We will share it. We will share that paper.
We will share that paper. You can get more details upon it, and in the paper itself, like Khatri Naik method, like first paper itself, like the Khatri and Naik's paper, like those who given that methodology, that paper we have already cited in our paper. So you just go through that. We will share our paper there. You will get some 2-3 paper wherein you will get some more details regarding Khatri Naik plots and equations all.
While listening, the time is not taken as response.
Like for this study we have not taken, sir, but in future we can consider. We will consider this. right now, like in our scope, we have not already the quantum of work is more, like we don't suitably consider that, but in future we can consider, no problem, we can consider.
Any other query? Okay, if you don't have any query, then we can thank the speaker. Thank you, Rahul. And with this, we will close the today's sessions. Okay, it won't cost money if you consider machining time. It won't cost money means what?
No, won't cost money. Yeah, it is correct, but okay. Okay, any other question?
Any other question? Okay, then thank you, Rahul. Thank you very much. And thank you everyone for today's session. And tomorrow we will be having the first session by Dr. Rajesh Madarkar from IIT Delhi and Dr. Rajesh Katrikar from again VNIT Nagpur. Post lunch is Dr. Nitin Lohtre. He is also again from our own department VNIT Nagpur. So I'll be sharing the links by today evening, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Customer will be more again still he has doubt. Customer will be more interested in cycle time and roughness and tool length, obviously.
Except cycle time, we consider both. Okay.
Okay. So 2 by 3, 67% we are considering. 33% we are. Anyway, thank you everyone. I'll end this session with this for the third day. I'll stop recording.